Hello YouTube, it is your boy B3 back another kicking graphic novel review. Today I have a pretty cool book, Batman the Dark Knight, Volume 2, Cycle of Violence. What an underrated book! This is a very good book. It's even better than Volume 1, which we have also reviewed. We reviewed Volume 1. But Volume 2 is so good. Greg Hurwitz, David Finch. This is that good New 52 Gucci. I know this was just a cheap attempt at grabbing some more cash from Batman. That was the creation of this title, because we didn't need another Batman solo series, honestly. But this book is worth the read. I'm going to read you the back here. Fear the worst. The Scarecrow returns to Gotham City, but with a bigger target in mind than Batman, with a brand new fear toxin, and even deadlier ways of spreading it. The Dark Knight will have to stop this psychotic rogue while confronting his own worst fears in the process. Artist David Finch teams up with writer Greg Hurwitz for a disturbing tale of fear and horror in the new DC universe. Plus, learn the mystery of the man who shot Bruce Wayne's parents in Batman the Dark Knight Cycle of Violence, collecting issues 0 as well as 10 through 15. 0 is actually in here last. Now there's also an inside cover read-up. I'm going to give you guys that as well just because it gives a bit more information. Nothing to fear but the Fear Master himself. Striking terror into the hearts of criminals is what Batman does best. But now he's not the only dark figure stalking Gotham City's shadows. Someone has been abducting children for vicious experiments, exploring the nature of horror, putting the Dark Knight on the trail of his most frightening enemy, the Scarecrow! The Dark Knight will have to confront his own worst fears and his own dark history if he's going to save Gotham citizens from Scarecrow's deadliest attack ever. How much will Bruce Wayne sacrifice for the salvation of his city? And can the twisted secrets of Scarecrow's own past hold the key to stopping the cycle of violence? Let's travel back in time before the days of Batman for an unsettling story of Bruce Wayne's hunt for the man who killed his parents. Joe Chill! This was a really good book. The art is spectacular, for one thing. Scarecrow looks scary as hell, this whole book. And this motherfucker, Scarecrow, is abducting children and doing fear experiments on them. And the children are so traumatized after they can't even speak. But he's gathering their sweat when they're going through their fear reactions to create a even stronger super fear toxin that even he is not immune to. A super crazy fear toxin. But he also kidnaps Gordon to distract Batman to lead Batman into a trap so he can also take Batman for experiments. And he starts experimenting on Batman, and Batman has to face his own past. It's impossible truths about it. But we also get the whole Scarecrow's whole past in here. Where his dad was doing fear experiments on him, locked him in a fear basement, and then his dad died while he was in the fear basement, so he was stuck in the fear basement for days until cops showed up to get his dad's dead body and found him. So he was like crazy traumatized after that. So he's doing fear experiments on this one little girl, but she's kind of like She's kind of empathizing with the Scarecrow, right? She's drawing pictures for him and telling him he'll be okay. And being like real polite. And it's sad. And the Scarecrow even chooses to save her in the end from an explosion when the place is going to blow up. He actually chooses to save her. So it shows that there's not all bad in the Scarecrow. But there's not all good in Batman as well, is what this book shows. Because Batman, there's this really cool moment where Batman is struggling because he's lost a lot of blood. And he's been exposed to all this gas, so he shoots his grappling hook through Scarecrow's fucking jaw. And instead of getting it fixed or anything, Scarecrow goes through with his plan, gathers his super fear toxin in a big old blimp that the Penguin made for him, and starts spreading it through Gotham Square. And Batman, motherfucker, there's no time to make an antidote from the antibodies in him. It'll take days, right? It'll take days. So Batman hooks himself up to the machine and starts just basically spraying an antidote made of his own blood, but it's constantly pulling blood out of him, and he's already lost a shit ton of blood, as I mentioned earlier. So he flatlines in the jet, and Damian's piloting it. And so they have to put more blood in him and stuff. And then he makes a joke about it to Alfred later, and Alfred fucking smashes his tea on the ground and leaves. Alfred got he asked. I don't see Alfred that pissed ever. But, yeah, when Batman went to grab the Scarecrow, he didn't even put up a fight. He just collapsed from blood loss and pain. But, I mean, it was a really good story. A really, really good story. Maybe one of the best Scarecrow stories, if not the best Scarecrow story I've ever read. This might be the best Scarecrow story I've ever read. When they throw the Scarecrow in his cell in Arkham, he's having an internal monologue thing. Or he's like, I have some of that super fear gas sewn into my pant leg, so I'm going to use it to escape. And then they throw him in the cell violently, and it shatters against the wall. So he's stuck in his glass cell with all this super fear toxin that he himself is not immune to. It's spraying out. Insanity. But he also makes Batman confront some things, like Batman could have used his loss to try to make the world better in different ways and move past it, but Scarecrow is like, you didn't fucking do this. It didn't make you dark. It didn't force you to be dark. You were already dark, and that tragedy just released it. So, yeah, and it's just, it shows their origins and stuff side by side, and it's like, they're really not that different. Batman and Scarecrow are almost exactly the same. They just, one took the road to good and one took the road to evil. They both got to that fork and they chose their side. It's really good. This is a crazy good book. Batman the Dark Knight, Volume 2, Cycle of Violence. Check it out. But we still got to talk about the Zero issue. I thought the issue 0 would be kind of lame. How many Batman origin issues do I have to fucking read? Am I right? I mean, you see his fucking origin story in every single Batman story. They have to show you his origin again. Because it's like he's obsessed with it. So they show it to you all the time. But this story, because remember in the regular Batman title, he thought the Court of the Owls killed his family, so he was looking for proof the whole time. And in this one, it's about him growing up to be 18. So he goes through like a whole decade looking for stuff. Trying to figure out who killed his parents, why they killed his parents. He thought it was some mob or rival company or a government that had his parents killed. But then he figures out it was Joe Chill, finds Joe Chill, and turns out Joe Chill just saw a lady in the street wearing expensive pearls, thought he'd rob her because he's an alcoholic and needed to afford more booze. That was it. And of course, any half-decent. Anyone who's been reading Batman long enough knew it would pan out that way, but it's still done pretty well. And Bruce was going to kill him, but of course didn't do it, and then he decided he was going to leave and train to be a vigilante. But the art is spectacular in this book. It's very well done. The Zero issue is better than I thought it would be. The whole story was better than I thought it would be. It was really good. This is definitely my favorite Scarecrow story. And you wouldn't expect that from Batman the Dark Knight. This is the fucking Batman title that everybody ignored during the New 52. This was the least important Bat title. No one fucking cared about it. And this is easily my favorite Scarecrow story. I just reviewed a different Scarecrow story from Detective Comics, Gothtopia, recently. And this fucking makes Gothtopia look like shit. This is a really good book. You don't even have to read Volume 1 to understand it either. You can just jump right into Volume 2 if you want. Batman, The Dark Knight, Volume 2, Cycle of Violence. Greg Hurwitz, David Finch. This is such a good book. I didn't expect it to be so good, but it was. I mean, I didn't expect it to be bad. That's why I bought it. If I thought it was going to be bad, I wouldn't have bought it. But, good book. Very good book, you guys. So that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Shoot all the links in the description below, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Once again, one more time, go to my Patreon, and also Volume 2, Cycle of Violence for Batman the Dark Knight. Batman the Dark Knight, Volume 2, Cycle of Violence. Great book. If you love Batman, if you love the Scarecrow, you'll love this book. So that's it. Thank you all once again, and I'll see you all later.